This is the Culture Study Podcast, and I'm Anne Helen Peterson.
And I'm Amanda Montell, host of the Sounds Like a Cult podcast and author of books including The Age of Magical Overthinking.
We got so many questions for this episode, but one of my favorites, and I actually laughed when I read this, was literally, why do people give in and have a wedding? And we're not talking necessarily about why do people get married. It's more, a lot of people don't want to have a wedding or are disinterested, neutral, and then just like, as this person said, give in and have a wedding. So you had one last year, so I wanted your answer.
This was me. This was absolutely me. I was repulsed by the conformity and consumerism and patriarchal pressures. I was like, I'm not doing that. And up until the day of the extravagant event that I did indeed throw wholeheartedly, I was referring to it as my dog's birthday party, just as like a mental gymnastic act. I was like, this is not a wedding. I would not go to these lengths for a wedding. But I did. And I can talk anecdotally about why I did it.
Yeah.
I am a person who greatly enjoys pageantry and festivity. I take it upon myself as a hobby to throw involved parties at my house for my friends. My husband and I, we joke that if this is independently a hobby for us both, Halloween parties. But it's kind of a thing, like you have to do it as a couple, because if he were just like a single man throwing like this over the top Halloween party, it would suddenly be like kind of creepy. But as a couple, last year we threw an event called Club Vampire. We flew in our Demon Twink DJ from Brooklyn. He's a friend. So this was like a love themed party that the culture sanctions, and that felt like a negative, not a positive for me, the cultural sanctioning. So I proposed to my cisgender male husband. Then he was my boyfriend. You know how it goes. And that felt like a good start in terms of sort of subverting many of the cultural norms that give me the proverbial ick. I am bisexual. I didn't want to be perceived as this like blushing bride, this like Stepfordy bride that is portrayed in so much media. But I think, long story short, from all of the interviews that I have now conducted with married friends of various backgrounds, sexualities, as well as experts, sociologists who study wedding culture, bachelorette party history, etc. My understanding is that there is just such an incredibly long legacy and so many societal incentives to throw this event, which has changed so much. Like the definition of what's traditional is evolving all the time, that it feels like the right thing to do. And unfortunately, consumerism has replaced religion as the main reason to like do all these little bells and whistles that I really resisted doing. I had bells, I had whistles, but I feel like they were of my own creation as opposed to this like forced stilted thing that Pinterest incentivized me to do.
No, but here's the thing is I think now the pressure is to have bells and whistles of your own creation.
For
I think that it's turned in on itself. 100%. And magnified into this like indie quirky bride, right? Like,
how dare you?
That's the brand.
100%. I mean, and I'm not going to defend it. Like I know. I am like other girls. Like, let's be very clear. I am like other girls. But I am like an earnest former theater kid at the end of the day. And I love to throw theatrical experiences for my freaking friends and family. So me.
This I love that we start this anecdotally, because I think in your instance, it absolutely makes sense. In the instances that make me feel really sad for the person is people who do not like throwing parties.
For sure.
They do not have the money or want to spend the money.
Yeah.
they have really complicated and traumatic relations with their family that they
Totally.
have to reactivate in order to do this.
This part.
They are maybe still learning their best communication style with their partner and spouse to be.
Yep.
And this actually like troubles it before you actually even get to be spouses.
100%.
Like those are the things that I'm like, you could give in. And I think, the last 10 years, I would say that we have the like, not just the small courthouse wedding, but like just different types of weddings have been repopularized, I think.
I think so too. Obviously, media portrayals of weddings have really established like what they should look like. And so I mean, I do think it's important for kind of like smaller, less opulent, more realistic, more accessible types of weddings to, come to the fore in media. But they're not as good for, movies. So
I actually think like the vows section of the New York Times for all of like the I don't know, the New York Times-ness of it often does highlight kind of fun, different ways that people have gone to marry, different outfits that people have worn, different ages that people get married, all of those things.
Yeah.
But we got so many questions. I feel like we have to dive in so that we can get to all of them.
Yeah, and I promise I have more than anecdotal bullshit to bring to the table. But my wedding was bullshit. And you know what? It was so fun. I wore pink. Everyone else wore white. I wore butterfly wings. It was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. I had a great day at my dog's birthday party.
Well, and we will link to the Instagram post where you posted some pictures because I think that your joy is palpable in these photos. Like you are not a bride who is like, just smiling and like my makeup is melting off. Like you're having a good time. So like you can feel the like on my own termsness.
But
like
sadly, my own terms do align with this is so regrettable. My doing a party on my own terms sadly did align ultimately with having a wedding. God damn it. God damn it.
So lots of big feelings about this. Some people were like, how dare you frame like, I don't know, contemporary wedding culture as like weird. Wedding culture is always weird. It is. It's totally weird. It's like rituals are weird. And they are ever changing and they are contextual and they are culturally specific. And hopefully we'll be able to dive into all of those things.
Yeah.
So the first question comes from Elena and Melody's going to read it.
When did wedding culture change? I'm a millennial woman who grew up with a very proper mother in Texas, so I know something about etiquette and hostessing. But even fancy weddings in the 80s were nothing like what is often considered standard today. For instance, my mom didn't need an event coordinator, but my wedding would have been a disaster without one. Is it as simple as Princess Diana's wedding?
I have some thoughts on this, but I want to hear you first.
Yeah, I mean, I learned from a scholar named Beth Montemurro, who's a sociologist and wrote a book about bridal showers and bachelorette parties, that Princess Diana's wedding and the like huge media treatment of that did have a lot to do with weddings going from this like sort of intimate family affair to this like extravagant thing that you would want others to see and appreciate, this sort of like pseudo royal wedding thing, which is cringe too, because like we're never going to be able to pull off a royal wedding like any of us. I mean, the economic boom of the 80s also supported that. But then I think things really changed with the advent of Pinterest. Like that made other people's weddings visible. There was a lot of mutual escalation on social media where it's like you see someone do something, now you have to do the thing, and then your bridesmaid has to do the thing. And, you know, we are consumerists. We approach problems with additive solutions, you know, like that's what we do here in the US of A. And yeah, I think it was really the social media of it all. And then, of course, like the industry snowballed. And so now, if you don't have a background in event production, you're gonna need to hire a wedding planner. But now there's like a wedding planner type. And we almost hired a wedding planner. And then we were like, no. Because my understanding, and I'm sure there are exceptions of this, but I have learned throughout many conversations that wedding planners tend to make it all about them, oftentimes, and they just really want the best marketing assets for their business. And so, I was interviewing this wedding planner, and she sent the contract. We redlined it because like there was this clause in there that said that she would be allowed to use all of the wedding photos that like my friend took in her advertising, like in perpetuity. But my wedding was at my parents' house, and there were gonna be some photos where you could probably tell like where they live, and like I write about cults and I have some enemies in the world, and I was just like, I don't want the Scientologists to know where my parents live, you know what I mean? And she was just like, the TLDR was like she didn't care, and she was like, this is the contract and I'm me and you're like so lucky to get to work with me. And I was like, okay, never mind. So yeah, I think there's a lot of ego here. There's a huge industry, but the long and the short of it is that it's social media and the visibility of other people's weddings' fault.
I love, what was the phrase that you used? Like the mutual escalation? Like the thing that came to my mind was like mutually assured destruction, self-destruction of like how when you escalate, because it's not just before you could find notes on people's weddings, like, or see other people's ideas that they use to execute their weddings. Like there were bridal magazines, right? And you saw announcements in the newspaper all the time of what like a wedding, where a wedding was held, and you saw their wedding dress, even if it was a black and white picture, whatever. But the ability to see just like normies like you, and not just like a dozen normies, we're talking like thousands of normies all over, and the replication, and like that looks like that feeling like you must do something, the perfunctoriness of it. Okay, my theory, and this goes to my experience with predominantly Christian weddings. I think, and like my parents' generation of their friends, which were predominantly Christian weddings, when you got married in the church, there was always someone at the church who this was their job, was to run the building. They were a de facto wedding coordinator, and they came with the rental of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were getting married in the church and then your reception was in the church's reception hall, think about the ease.
Yes.
Like, you don't need a wedding coordinator for that.
Right. No.
Right?
So true.
Like, people just move, and then you might have a caterer, but different story. Like, that's very different than having a wedding coordinator. And the mother of the bride did some of these duties in various capacities. And I think now, when so much of like the weight is transferred, the planning weight is transferred to usually the bride, right? And the bride has to outsource it somehow, and they are oftentimes not getting married in a church.
Right. No, there is a lot to manage. That's what I'm saying. It's like so we threw our wedding at, my dog's birthday party in my parents' backyard. Mm-hmm. And we thought that would make everything easier.
No, harder.
But no.
You have to turn it into a wedding venue.
You have to turn it into a wedding venue. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, we have, friends and community members who have like different skills and connects they could bring to the table, who were like, pulling favors. And we were able to skirt the wedding industry like quite significantly.
Yep.
But that took so much effort and bandwidth, and we enjoy that type of challenge. He and I,
yeah. You like logistics. I also like logistics.
Yeah, well, he really likes logistics, and we had a pretty complementary division of labor. I don't mind logistics. I'm sensitive to logistics because I throw live events for my work, and so like I know kind of what needs to get done. But if you have no background and you don't enjoy it, of course you're gonna need someone to do it for you. And the amount of money that they charge is unbelievable. But like, what is your choice? And then if they're, and again, the ego thing, if they're in charge of it, then they're probably definitely going to push you in a certain direction so that the end product ends up being kind of cookie cutter, more or less.
Yeah. Totally. And what they are good at managing and have experience managing. That's such a good point. And I just keep thinking of like, Jeannie who managed the like events at a church or something like that. Like that was probably her part-time job. And like she did it for what was called pin money, right? Like just like a little extra cash.
Yeah.
And there was cookie cutterness to that too, right? Because it was
Sure.
the limitations of the
Of
spaces.
course. Yeah, and they really do. I mean, the reason why I've analyzed wedding culture through a cult lens so much is because, like, they're really, on top of like the rituals and the financial exploitation or whatever, there really is this strange, secret, like, conveyor belt that they put you on and make you feel like is special, but it's actually the least special thing ever. So, like, when I was in early talks with this wedding planner, I was kind of, describing our vibe, and I was like, yeah, I don't really, I'm really kind of creeped out by those like highly produced wedding videos that like that the Mormons do really well. I was like, I don't want one of those. I want, I want to document the day, but I want it to feel like a little more nostalgic, like maybe I could just have like one of my videographer friends like be in charge of a Super 8 or whatever. Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, it's so funny that you say that. I actually, now that I think about it, I know this incredible Super 8 and dad cam husband, wife, partner. They're so sweet. I could totally suggest them. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds great. And then I look it up and it's $10,000. And this, I'm sure this woman is getting a kickback or whatever. In the end, I literally just paid a friend of a friend to take Super 8 footage. And I paid another friend who's an editor $500 to edit it together. And it was like, great.
The Culture Study Podcast is sponsored by Biologica. So maybe you're one of those people who has reached the age in their life where they have like a pill organizer for all of their vitamins and supplements. And Melody just held up her pill organizer. And you're like, well, some of these things I really do need to take every day. It needs to be a separate pill. But some of these things, like especially with vitamins and supplements, sometimes they're like these big horse pills. And you're like, I don't want to lug this all over the place. And there's also like specific things that I think some of us, myself included, are taking to grapple with some of the changes of going through, I don't know, the portal, middle age. And I've been looking for a while for something that's more than just like a very basic multivitamin. Like I wanted something more tailored to some of the stuff that I'm specifically looking for as a woman of 44 years old. And that's when I heard about Biologica. And I was like, okay, great. It's not even a pill. It's like a sachet. It's like a powder that you put into your water and it kind of fizzes and bubbles. And it's this great cranberry taste that doesn't taste like artificial sweeteners, which always bugs me when you are tasting one of these powders that you put into your water. I drink it midday, like the way that I would open up a seltzer or something like that. And it goes beyond a multivitamin. They brought together a comprehensive vitamin and mineral foundation, probiotics, electrolytes, and clinically researched botanicals all in one drink. It's also not one size fits all. Biologica has 3 formulas designed for different hormonal life stages, so you're actually supporting your body based on where you are right now. So head to biologica.com/culture to get started. Take their quick hormonal life stage quiz to find the formula that's right for you. And right now, subscribers can receive up to 32% off their purchase. Again, make sure to go to biologica.com/culture and get up to 32% off your first subscription order today. Support for today's episode comes from Honeylove. So we're getting that time of year when, like, if you're wearing the wrong bra and you're sweating, it's just a bad deal. Like, there's just chafage, there's discomfort, there's like weird gatherings of sweat in places there shouldn't be. Like, this is the time of year when I actually think more than any other time of year about like what sort of bra I'm wearing. And I love wearing my Honeylove bra when more perspiration enters the picture. Melody, the other day someone said to me that they love our ads because it sounds like we're just like shooting the shit.
We are.
Which we are.
Yeah. I like that my Honeylove bra, when the sweat is happening, it does not stay damp all day.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's not like you're damp for the rest of the day,
yeah,
right?
Which I feel like all of my other bras are.
You know what that's called? That's called wicking.
Yes, thank you. I know what wicking is.
I was just giving you a name for us to use to describe what we like about it. Honeylove recently launched their new crossover contour bra, which features their best-selling wireless crossover bra design, plus built-in molded light foam pads for extra support. A great bra is the foundation for any great summer outfit. So start every summer outfit with Honeylove and elevate your summer style. You can treat yourself today to the most advanced bras and shaper on the market. Use our exclusive link to save 20% off Honeylove at honeylove.com/culture. That's honeylove.com/culture. After you check out, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Experience the new standard in comfort and support with Honeylove. Okay, our next question comes from Grace, and it's about the point of a wedding.
My partner and I are currently planning our wedding, and I feel like so much of the online discourse is around how you don't have to have a big wedding or a wedding at all, and it's really just about the two people getting married. At a time when we're all talking about community, what does a cultural shift away from an event that's about bringing friends, family, and community together mean? And how can we make it more affordable and possible for people who do want that community event to hold it without spending more than their annual salary?
I love this question because it's pointed to something that like I love to talk about, right? It's like how do you actually make how do you participate? How do you show people that they're meaningful to you? How do you like have a community,
Yeah.
right? But I think the vast majority of contemporary weddings are not actually interested in guest experience, really, right? They're like, what food are we going to have?
Yeah.
That's not
It's
what
about
the guest experience is
impressing
about,
people,
right?
maybe even online more than in
Yes.
person sometimes.
Yes. It's about like what the Instagram version of the wedding, the spectacle of the wedding is going to look like and not what the experience is.
Yeah.
And then also not a ton of thought about like the cost to a community. Like what happens when attending a wedding becomes so expensive that no matter what the experience is, it doesn't feel quote unquote worth it, right?
Yeah.
And different rules about how you should show up to this wedding and what you should be wearing and who you can and cannot bring and plus one or no plus one and where you're sitting, all of these things. The most interesting conversations I've seen about this actually are on like Priya Parker's Instagram, where she highlights weddings where they have done something incredibly mindful
Yeah.
about making it feel like something that is a group of people coming together to celebrate the love between two people.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally I did this for like our welcome drinks, LOL, the like all the events you like are coerced into throwing throughout the weekend. But again, I am that bitch, so ultimately I did do the welcome drinks. Anywho, our venue was $150 and it fit 70 people in it. And we like full blown could have done the wedding in there. Like you know, I think we brought our own mocktails, and then there was like, you know, spent maybe $1,500 on alcohol. And I was like, after the end of that night, I was like, this could have been it. You know?
Right. You're like, I saw the people.
Yeah.
It was
like
fantastic.
This literally could have been it. You know, our two best friends gave speeches. We dressed up. I was like, this felt kind of like its own wedding.
Totally.
So I think, yeah, you can really, really simply just not use the word wedding when you're booking stuff. You can totally just say you're throwing a special event. And I think, you know, have a conversation with yourself and your partner about like, how do we want to feel on the day?
Yeah.
You know, what do we want our loved ones to feel? How much do we really, like really in our heart of hearts want to spend? How much do we want other people to spend? Now, I don't think it's like morally inferior to want to like spend a bunch of money. And like, I mean, if you are inclined to over the top celebration, then like this is an excuse to do that and to make your friends do that. And you know, destination weddings are on the rise. There was like a Grand View research poll that found that, you know, destination weddings are growing at almost 17% rate annually. And that is certainly a way to like offset the cost to your guests.
But I feel like that like by offsetting the cost to your guests, it does create this complicated scenario, right?
For sure. oh my God. Yeah. It's like, what? Now your guests on a budget just like can't celebrate your love?
Right.
100%. Yeah. No, I'm not recommending that. I'm reflecting that it is happening. But yeah, no, there are a lot of pressures online and offline to have a wedding. But like, if you don't wanna, it is so possible to throw just like a much smaller, more intimate, more mindful, as you said, event where like the word wedding isn't even uttered until the day of.
A friend of mine, they just went on like a fun trip to Iceland and then brought their wedding dresses as two women and got married and had like a photographer there, right? And then they had like fun celebrations that were just, at like a big bar or a community hall in the two places where both of them are from. So they got to celebrate with like so many people that mattered to them and like localized those so those people could come and also have like a really precious moment that was on their terms.
Yeah, I love that. It's interesting the way that the wedding industry, but also just like kind of general discourse about weddings being traditional has justified like throwing the big extravagant wedding. There's this article this like scholarly article that I read that felt so validating to me in all of my icks and questions about weddings. It's called Traditional Inequalities and Inequalities of Tradition, Gender, Weddings, and Whiteness. And when asking, brides particularly, like, why are you doing this? The study's authors found that tradition was repeatedly used when talking to actually both the husband and the wife, heterosexual couples.
Interesting.
And the reason why it was important to them to throw a wedding in this traditional sense was because that seemed like it was setting them up for a traditional marriage, which they seemed to use as shorthand for a marriage that was secure, stable,
successful.
Yeah. And
Had
quote,
children.
connected with an imagined past when these elements were believed to be inherent in society and family bonds. So it was almost like if I throw a wedding with traditional elements, and again, those change all the time because in the 70s it was like throw the wedding at the church, and now it's like throw it at a hotel and like, ice sculpture, that's really 90s, whatever. But it's like if you do all this, then you'll be connected to some kind of like illusory vision of a time when like husbands and wives were really connected and secure. That's what this article seemed to be intimating.
Total imaginary time.
Yeah.
I just am thinking of like all the people who got shotgun wedding, like people who got married just so that they could have sex, like just like different like, and those weddings are like absolutely part of that traditional wedding because they were also following these scripts, right?
Yeah. And it's like, great. We want to, reflect a marriage from a time when like marital rape was not a crime. Like I don't know that.
Totally.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that women, their parents had to pay for the wedding because like, oh well, the women couldn't have checking accounts or like credit cards, so they certainly weren't paid for it.
Right, and everybody was really young, so that's the other thing too is that like another reason why weddings are more expensive now is because people are getting married later, and that's like this catch-22 as well because a wedding and marriage used to symbolize like the beginning of your adulthood, and so it was like this small affair because you couldn't afford anything, and like your parents were paying for it, but like it wasn't typical to pay for this extravagance. But now people are getting married later and it's more customary to pay for more of it yourself. And so they're getting more expensive. But then it creates a situation where some people feel like they can't even get engaged or get married because they can't afford a wedding. So it's like actually really wedding culture is halting people from like unionizing their love. Like it's really backwards actually.
Okay, next question is another one that we get a lot of, and I hear people complain about a lot, and I have a very simple explanation for it, but I'm sorry, I'm setting it up. I'm giving us so much hype for this question.
Yeah, let's hear
it. From
it.
Johnny.
When did no-kid weddings become so popular? I've always loved the little kids running around in their fancy outfits, and it was a favorite memory of mine from my own wedding. It seems so not representative of the community that loves and supports you.
Yeah.
What's your theory?
I think it's partially because there is this sort of ideological divide between like millennials who have kids and millennials who don't, and it's becoming
yes,
more accepted to not have kids, and there's a lot of, you know, justified defenses and defensiveness around not having kids. And yeah, and there's also, you know, increased conversation about boundaries, you know, with your friends and family members, which can be good conversations and also kind of used to justify a little bit of you know, wedding-centric narcissism.
No, but okay. No, see, I actually don't. It's a little bit wedding-centric narcissism. But here's the reality. When you bring your kids to the wedding
Yeah.
and you don't have childcare, which a lot of people don't
Right.
have childcare at a wedding because you're traveling to the wedding or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got to go home early. You can't hang out.
Yeah.
You can't hang out with your friends.
Right.
And as someone who doesn't have kids, who has lots of friends who do have kids, there is just a very distinct change in the way that we hang out when you have to get back to a sitter at a certain time, or you have
Yeah.
to like you have to go home. It just changes the character.
Right. But doesn't that mean that like you're gonna if you have kids, period, then you can't come to the wedding? Like what?
No. Sorry, I don't mean getting back to the sitter so much. I mean more like if your kids are at the wedding and you need to bail out at 7:35 so that you can get them home to get them to sleep or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your kids at the unless you have a bailout plan, which sometimes is like one person in our partnership has to go home and take care of the kids, right?
Oh, I'm now wondering too if it's like some people. Okay, the child-free weddings that I've actually never been to one, but I know people who've thrown them. I think they wanted their wedding to be like really debauched. They wanted people to get like turned, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. They want to have they don't want little kids doing the hokey pokey in the middle of the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like they want all the all the adults out there.
I think that's just a vibe. I think that's just a vibe for the wedding. I was getting too deep with it. I think I was just like, oh, there's like, you know, this like righteousness of like I do not have
I
kids.
think that's true too.
And I don't want to see your kids on my day. And that's so valid. Let me see. I had a flower girl, but she was 2.5 and she's my friend. Okay. Like, this is an intergenerational friendship. Like she was my friend and I wanted her at the wedding. She's iconic. Like she was probably somehow the most turned person at this wedding.
Well, and here's the other thing is that some people just don't like kids. And I think that we are normalizing people saying like, I don't like kids. I don't like having kids around. And I know that like there are some people, we've had this conversation in my newsletter a lot, that think that like you're not allowed to say that. But you can, if you're throwing a party and there is a type of person, aka
yeah, no, I mean, I didn't want, yeah, there were lots of different.
You don't want hanging out.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I don't think we had a single Republican at my wedding.
Yeah, see, I will also say that old school weddings, again, because they were often held at a religious institution, those religious institutions also have nursery spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just the basement where you can send the freaking kids. And if you pay for some sitters who are there and like liability considerations were slightly different, right? Like there used to be ways that you could like shunt the kids in a way that you cannot any longer.
And I feel like it was also more traditional at a certain time in the past to have the wedding ceremony in the morning. Yes. And now they're more often at night or in the late afternoon. And so then people are like partying into the wee hours. But like the church wedding with the nursery, they're not like dropping acid. Like there's so many. I mean, my wedding was like pretty.
No one's on shrooms at the church wedding.
Yeah, like there was a lot of shrooms at my wedding. And, you know, like Koa's daughter, she didn't do shrooms. She's 2.5, but she doesn't need them. We're all trying to get on her level. That was the thing. I think we all want to be the kids. We all want to become the children.
Well, and that actually, I think like how do I put this? Like, because weddings have also become more about the party and less about the ritual, less about the church ceremony, right? And more
Yeah.
about like, let's have fun together and
Yeah.
like have a live band and like everyone's going to dance. It is about this opportunity to act like children.
Yeah.
And if you are also responsible for children,
Then you
sometimes that
can't.
makes it harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. We arrived
Wait,
at a great
no,
place.
I have a
Yes.
really basic interjection here because I did not have children at my wedding. They're
Amazing.
extra mouths to feed. They're extra mouths to feed and they're extra butts in chairs. It would have like significantly increased the price of our wedding had we included children because there would have been
Okay.
like 40 extra
Practical
bodies.
Melody.
Yeah. No, that's so fair. You're only half a person. I don't want to have to pay for a full chair.
Exactly. It was a space and food issue for us.
That's so fair.
Now we're going to talk about aesthetics. One of my favorite things. This comes from Sarah.
Why are people so obsessed with weddings, dresses, hairstyles, flowers, table settings being timeless? I know that we look back at weddings from 10 years ago and we think they're a bit cringe style-wise, but when we look back at them 20 years later, the timestamp stuff is half the fun. Is it because they're so expensive that we feel we can't follow trends? The same logic as investing in a good classic winter coat? Or is it because we have so many more photos of weddings now than our parents' generation ever did? Or maybe something else?
What do you think?
I think
Your face right now.
timeless. I think timeless is a euphemism for like some type of elitist bullshit. Like timeless, if there's
Timeless is like bourgeois, waspy white.
100%, 100%. I think it is a dog whistle. I think timeless is a red flag. It's also a ridiculous concept. Like if you can guarantee anything, it is the passage of time. Like you cannot beat time.
I said bourgeois earlier, but I really think that like you said, it's a euphemism. I think that it's a way of saying I don't want anything tacky. I'm scared of having something tacky at my wedding.
Tacky being like living in a moment and like
I know.
But I mean, I think too, probably a discourse about the wedding needing to be timeless followed the like Pinterest DIY millennial aesthetic of like mason jars and like chalkboard signs or whatever. We were like, ew, like that is so millennial cringe. We need to return to the Princess Diana aesthetic. But it's like, it's such a futile pursuit. I don't think like, sure, like if you're following trends just because everybody else is following trends and they don't feel authentic to you, yeah, like maybe you can think more about, let me go back to basics. Like what do I really want? But that I think inauthenticity should be the enemy, not like time stamping or trendiness.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think that like part of this too is like if I avoid anything tacky or Pinteresty, then I'm also rejecting wedding culture in a way, right? Like if we like there is an understanding of wedding culture, almost as like the thing that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I think the word timeless,
you're timeless. You're like a J. Crew sweater from 1980, right?
It's so, it's just, I think timeless is just like a genre of wedding. It's like, do you want like a fairy tale wedding with a ball gown? Do you want like a sexy girl wedding with like a mermaid dress?
Okay,
or do you
but
want,
what
like,
does
a
that look? What does
timeless
timeless look like? How do you see it? What
do I
appears
think
in your
timeless
brain?
looks like?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's such a good question. I imagine like Audrey Hepburn. I imagine like a kind of like a plain but like flawlessly executed, maybe like off the shoulder
French twist.
Yeah, French twist. For certainly an updo. You know, it's like past hors d'oeuvres. You know, black tie. Just I think of like high class. You know, like I think it's just a synonym, it's really just a euphemism for like expensive
and spending your money on the right things, right?
Yeah. and like a little more minimalistic, but like so fucking
Again,
expensive.
because you have to avoid tackiness, because tackiness is showing off your money in some way, right? Like it has to be subdued luxury.
Oh my
quiet
God.
luxury.
I remember, okay, I did not wear a wedding dress. But I didn't. I wore a pink dress. But I did go wedding dress shopping. I mean, of course, like it's so fun. I tried on like so many wedding dresses. And some I just tried on like as a bit. And I tried on this one dress that I could not believe how not me it was. It was like so popular, and it was like it had kind of like a bandage like cut or whatever. Like it was so tight around the midsection, and it was I think it was what people might conceive of as timeless. It was just like very simple, just like figure fitting and off the shoulder and whatever. And it immediately inspired in me this alter ego named Antoinetta. And Antoinetta was like wasted and had just found out the day before the wedding that her husband to be's family had actually lost all their wealth, and it was all a facade. And so she was marrying into this like fraudulence. And I was like overcome with this timeless Antoinetta, like old money, like performative, like Gilmore Girls persona. It was really fun for 10 minutes.
Right, like timeless is miserable, man.
Yeah, it is. Timeless is miserable. Like get a personality.
The Culture Study Podcast is sponsored by Wild Alaskan. So, Melody, we just had to get a new grill.
Oh, congrats.
But can I tell you why?
Yeah.
It's because if you don't put a cover on your grill here, if, say, someone who is the grill master in your home, that is not me, maybe forgets to put the cover on because it's really annoying, and then it starts to rust out, and then like the bottom starts to rust out, and then you can't use your grill anymore, that's when you have to buy a new grill.
That sounds terrible, but also thrilling.
I'm really excited, actually, to have this functioning grill. So excited that I took my last 2 packets of the sockeye salmon out of the freezer, and they're currently defrosting, and I'm going to eat them for dinner tomorrow night, and it's going to be amazing. Just a light marinade, like maybe just a tiny bit of soy sauce, tiny bit of oil, salt and pepper. You're good. And unlike other places where you're kind of like, here's this frozen fish that's like, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how it was caught. I don't know if it was ethically caught. When you get your package from Wild Alaskan, you know exactly how it was caught. You know where it was caught. You know the practices that they used. You know that it's high quality seafood. Wild Alaskan Company offers the best way to get wild caught, high quality seafood delivered to your door on your schedule. Each Wild Alaskan box comes with individually portioned fillets. They're vacuum sealed, easy to prep, and great for any meal, no matter how quick, like if you're just throwing it on the grill, or I don't know, if you're going for an elevated experience. All the fish is quick frozen, fresh from the Alaskan waters, which helps lock in its freshness, texture, and flavor, and key ingredients like omega-3s. It's also fish you can trust with no GMOs, antibiotics, or other additives. Wild Alaskan Company is so confident that their fish is the best that they offer 100% satisfaction and money-back guarantee. So you can try your first box risk-free. Go to wildalaskan.com/culture for $35 off your first order of premium wild-caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/culture for $35 off your first order. Thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Aura Frames. So, Melody, do you know what the number one gift on Mother's Day is? The thing that everyone gives their moms.
I'm assuming flowers.
Yes, it is. It's flowers. And if I were a mom, I'm not, but if I were a mom, I would be like, lovely flowers. But also maybe you got me flowers every single year. Maybe there's a way for a very simple and straightforward way to upgrade from the usual Mother's Day flowers. I cannot tell you what a crowd pleaser. Every single person I know who's given their Aura frame as a gift to their mom. It's been a massive hit.
Imagine the Aura frame like a bouquet of photos that never dies and that you never have to throw in the trash.
It never dies. And if you maybe looked into digital frames a while ago and thought I don't know, the quality isn't that great, they have improved so much. It is beautiful, crisp, and it's so easy to upload your photos to it, both before it arrives to your mom and in lieu of Mother's Day flowers, but also as you go through the year. And if you have the app on your phone, like you can just press a button or you can text it to this number that serves as like a very easy shortcut for it to just go to the frame. And then it can surprise them. So you can even play jokes too. If you have a mom who likes funny things, we could like send weird memes. There's all sorts of fun things that you could do.
Ooh, you've given me some ideas.
I know. The Aura frame has free unlimited storage. Like I said before, you can preload the photos before it ships. It also has a very tasteful gift box, so it looks fancy and not just like someone, I don't know, ordered it off the internet. It looks nice. Make Mother's Day special with Aura frames. Right now, you can save on the gifts moms love by visiting auraframes.com. For a limited time, listeners can get $25 off their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's the one that I have, with code CULTURE. That's auraframes.com, promo code CULTURE. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, next question comes from Aya.
When I think about my parents' wedding photos, there are a handful of pictures, and that's it. I'm curious about the ways that social media, including the early days of blogging, have affected this notion that any experience, adventure, or wedding are all ways to generate content that is meant to be shared online. I find myself being more thoughtful about the content-ification of my life, pushing back and asking myself why I'm taking a picture or if I need to share it online. And I'm wondering if the wedding industry is experiencing this too. Is not documenting or not sharing the wedding a trend?
Love this question. I think so.
Not sharing the wedding is becoming
because
a trend.
People, or just doing one carousel.
I did 3.
But I mean, also, you had a wedding that like you wanted to show off. You know what I mean?
Okay, but this is a really interesting. This is now, I think, a really interesting thought exercise when thinking about what you want to spend your money on for the wedding. You could ask yourself, if I were not to share this on social media, none of it, what would I choose? What would be important to me?
Yep.
That could be an interesting exercise. It reminds me of the trendification of not posting the wedding reminds me of how now it's trendy to only post your pregnancy announcement when you're like 9 months pregnant or when the baby is born. Like, surprise, I have a baby, instead of like posting the sonogram or whatever.
100%. And I think that like did you follow Allison Roman's like wedding pictures,
I didn't.
All those sorts of things?
I can't say
It's
I
just
did.
very, very chill, right? Like, can't be like, oh, we're just gonna like casually throw like a couple of pictures up, right? And like they might not even actually be on the grid.
Could never be me. Could never be me. Oh my God. I wear butterfly wings. Like, people have to see.
The tension between like a billion photos, which I think is digital photography, is the thing that has really facilitated this, right?
Yeah.
The tension between a billion photos and not as many photos is I find that my friends who had a billion photos at their wedding, they don't actually ever look at them. They're on a thumb drive, right? And they're not like accessible to them in a way that's meaningful. Like they probably actually see the pictures that are in my Facebook album that I tagged in 2009 of them, like because I bring them up and like send them and I'm like, look at you, like, you know, like totally unprofessional photos more than their professional photos.
Yeah. I'll just say it was very important to me not to have the like forced staged like family photos. We didn't have any of those. My wedding photographer, he's not a wedding photographer. He is this unbelievably talented photographer named Selah Shaloni, and he did this as a favor. And God, I love our wedding photos. But yeah, I love the idea of thinking to yourself, what if I were a chill girl and didn't post anything? What would I choose?
But only if you feel like that's you, right?
Yeah.
Because I think like just don't do what you don't
want to do. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try to get through a couple more of these, not rapid fire as in like one word answer, but you and I will both give our little take.
Okay.
This question also is about aesthetics, and it comes from Julia.
How and why has the second or reception look become such a phenomenon in weddings? Wedding dresses and suits or tuxes tend to be very expensive, so buying another outfit seems like a surefire way to blow your wedding budget out of the water. Also, the first or ceremony look is usually stunning and again, expensive. So why make the outfit change? This is coming from a 2027 bride, so I'm genuinely curious and baffled by this trend.
How many wedding outfits did you have?
3. 3. I'll tell you why. I had a suit for when people were arriving because it's traditional these days for the bride to be like hidden until she walks down the aisle or whatever. I was like, no, I want to be there. Like, we had a fucking harpist and like champagne flutes with cotton candy in them. I was like, I want to be there, but I don't want people to like see my outfit yet. Yeah. So I had a suit that actually I was sent for free because I know the marketing girly at Cezanne. Haha. So lucky me.
Man. That's awesome though. I love a suit too. Like that's like you're like, hey guys, welcome to my wedding.
Yeah.
And then you go into the closet and turn it to like put on your dress. And
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm here again.
Yeah. Casey and I were like both in suits, and then everybody went down to the ceremony area, and I went into my parents' bedroom and put on the most ridiculous pink Galinda ass dress you've ever seen. And Casey and I walked down, it wasn't an aisle, but we walked down the little staircase together. And then I couldn't dance in that dress because it was long and I was wearing these big ass heels. So then I had to put on the little short dress. So that was just me. But if it baffles you, don't do it. I mean, why do
Totally.
people...
That's such a good like I don't know, like what's the word I'm
rule of
looking
thumb,
for?
like
That's
litmus
such a
test,
good rule of thumb.
whatever.
That if it baffles you, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like
It baffled me to have thousands of dollars of flower arrangements. I was like, no, I'm going to go to Trader Joe's and get like little bouquets of flowers and put them in bud vases. And that's what we did. Yeah. But having 3 outfits, whatever the opposite of baffle is, that's what it did to me.
I think it really depends on your personality because I too would like, I love an outfit. And it would be, there's so few opportunities in my current life to like
Exactly.
wear those 3 outfits.
Exactly.
And then also the point, and going to Julia's question about like why people have a second outfit, especially for the reception, I think a lot of it is like, do you want to dance?
Yeah.
If you don't want to dance, whatever. But like a lot of people want to like really go after it on like they envision their reception not as like demurely going from table to table saying hi to every single person that came and like maybe stuffing a piece of steak in your mouth. They see it as like, I'm going to shovel that food in and then I'm going to dance for literally 4 hours. Like that is my dream.
Yeah.
So
our situation was the dinner was like the main event. It was like a bacchanal. I have a magician friend who did a magic show during the dinner. You're like, never speak to me.
No, but okay, the thing that I've noticed as you've talked about all of this stuff, though, and what I think people should like internalize is each person who did something at your wedding was a friend of yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were part of your community.
Yes.
And so like there is a real difference between like, and then I decided I wanted a magician. And so I had to outsource finding a magician. And then there was this random magician guy doing tricks in the corner. You know what I mean?
No.
Like this is special to incorporate his skills into your party.
Exactly. No, it was so special. But the movement, like being constricted, and wedding dresses a lot of the times are really constricting. And so I think people want to strip that off and whatever, have like a looser outfit, but that maybe wouldn't look formal enough for the ceremony. But I could not endorse enough just not getting a wedding dress. Like you can thrift and then spend all that money to alter it to your specifications and taste. You can just get like a white non-wedding gown and again just spend the money on altering it. And you'll still end up spending way less. I could not recommend enough just not getting a like build wedding dress.
Well, and also like I even look at Anthropologie has like a wedding arm, or J. Crew has a wedding arm, and like the way that the cost goes up just because it's like placed into the wedding section is phenomenal. Like just find a dress that you love and wear that dress.
Yeah, I loved wearing pink and having everyone else wear white.
And even, and I keep saying dress, find an outfit that you love. Like it could be, does not have to be a dress.
Yeah,
Suits
you
are
could wear a
beautiful.
cape and bloomers if you really want.
Okay, I'm going to use this as our final question because it's very astute and I think will give us something to think about as we try to wrap up. This comes from Anna.
There seems to be an inverse correlation between how much changes in your life from before and after a wedding and how elaborate the bachelor and bachelorette parties have become. 4 decades ago, a bachelor party was one night typically, and a bachelorette was maybe a lingerie gift at your shower or a little lingerie shower once the older relatives left your bridal shower. And at that time, you probably were celebrating the loss of quote-unquote freedom in a meaningful way. You might not have been living together before you got married. You probably still had separate bank accounts, etc. Now, bachelor and bachelorette parties are so often very elaborate vacations, but what they are marking, the last-ditch party before the big change of the wedding, is actually very insignificant. Most people I know who have these parties are already living together, sharing finances, going on vacations together, and so on. Often, there isn't even a name change involved after the wedding. Is there something to this inverse correlation, or is the answer just that everything that can be photographed has gotten more intense?
Both, yes.
Yeah.
So I looked into this somewhat carefully because I did an episode of my podcast Sounds Like a Cult on the cult of bachelorette parties, for which I interviewed this sociologist that I keep referencing, Beth Montemurro. And she talked about how, so the bachelorette party as a phrase and thus like a marketable concept didn't really come about until the early 1980s. The bachelor party is older, and that was more of this like last hurrah before you lock it down with the ball and chain. That wouldn't make sense in the days of yore for a woman because like there was nothing to sacrifice. She was like finally fulfilling her life's purpose by becoming a bride.
Right.
Then
and also like no understanding that like a woman could go out and like have a party of sexual liberation. Like,
no, hell no.
Appropriate.
No. Yeah. And then once, 1970s happened, women's liberation, sexual revolution, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the economic boom of the 1980s. Then women started kind of parodying and parroting what had become traditional for a bachelor party by throwing a kind of ridiculous, extravagant event of their own with like penis straws and last dick forever and da-da-da, which is obviously like a joke. Like it's like making fun of men.
Right. It is.
But also not necessarily. It's in the pursuit of making fun of men. It's also maybe not the most authentic way of like celebrating friendship, which was ultimately through Beth Montemurro's studies what bachelorette parties were really about. It's like, I have a friend whose wedding I attended last year, and she threw a bachelorette party at the Madonna Inn in California, which I don't know if you know what that is, but
no,
it's this amazing hotel with all these themed rooms. It's just the pinnacle of kitsch, and it's just a great place for a bachelorette party. I was like, damn it, that's so good. But she said that she felt like she had just gotten married to all her friends. So it's just like it's an opportunity to celebrate like the other loves of your life. But yeah, I mean, women are just like able to, that women are more liberated now, and so we're able to, and more financially independent than we've ever been, and so we can throw like our big ass bachelorette party to celebrate our friends, and weddings and marriage don't change our identities quite as much, and so there is an inverse correlation, and bachelorette culture and aesthetics are also heavily influenced by Pinterest and social media, both and.
So smart. And I think also might help us reframe some of what, I don't know, just the general denigration of bachelorette parties. For me, I think the ones that are the best and like how I'd love to just to recenter the friendship part, right? When they get annoying is when it's actually just a group of like, you're like, I have to invite all these people, and like they kind of hate each other, or like travel in very different ways, or you know what I mean? Like, and then you turn it into this event and someone else is planning and everyone gets mad at each other and it's super expensive. Like, the ones that I have loved have just been like, let's go hang out for a weekend. And I think that is why they have become so significant, is because with what I call calendar culture, where everyone in their 30s is just like, nope, busy this weekend. Can we like bump this to 6 months from now? Like, when can anyone get their schedules together? A bachelor or bachelorette party trumps other things in a way that is socially acceptable. So to my mind, I just wish that we could be like, I want to hang out with my friends, and it's okay to go someplace with them.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, but for some reason we need this kind of like fascistic, like if you don't
everyone
come to my
wear
bachelorette party,
shirt, and everyone has to wear the same shirt and like have the same penis hat. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Again, I keep talking about the events that I threw for my like general wedding season, but I really did love them. I had like the gayest, like the queerest bachelorette party ever. There was not one straight person there. We did it in New Orleans, where my mom is from, and like, it was so me. It was totally over the top. We like dressed like witches, and I don't even know. We went to an event called Pitties and Titties, which was burlesque in a dog park.
But again, this sounds like a party I would like to go to, right? And also one that didn't feel like compulsory. Like, you're like, and I guess I'm going to spend $1,000 on this bachelorette party for this shirt that I'm never going to wear again.
Yeah.
It's more like,
oh,
I get to go to Pitties and Titties.
Yeah,
That's
and
fun.
I paid for our lodging because I was like, I want this fancy Airbnb, and I'm not gonna make like my artist friends pay for this. Like, I'm gonna fucking pay for this. And I mean, it was not cheap for anyone. Like, let me be clear. But yeah, I was just like, this is what I want, and I don't want to make that other people's problem. But it was also really sweet. It was like my friends care about my partnership with Casey, and we did this like beautiful ritual where like they each wrote down kind of like a well wish for our partnership, and like we did a little cheeky like mystical thing with it, and they like pasted them in this little booklet that they made with like a moon and me and Casey on it. It was just like, it was so corny, but it was so sweet. It was just it felt like my friends being like, we're going to send you on your way into this like new phase of your partnership. I loved it.
Well, and this I think kind of brings us full circle, both in terms of like, if something sounds bonkers to you, don't do it. Like, if you don't want a bachelorette party, no one has to throw you one. If a bachelorette party that's a sleepover at your house sounds awesome, do that, right? If you want to do pitties and titties, also awesome. But also the re-ritualization, right? So like, religion used to be the way that all of us made sense of our lives, right? Yeah. And we have lost a lot of that. Not everyone, but many people have lost that as like the primary way that we understand the way we go through the world. And so how do you re-ritualize, add meaningful communication, like all these different things that stick with you and make like demarcate something? Like, you can figure out what that is. It doesn't have to be timeless. It can be anything that you want. And I think like going through all of these questions, I just really think the more that you spend time contemplating, discerning what's really important to you, and maybe that's not having a wedding, whatever it is, actually listen to what's going on in your head and your partner's head, like together.
Yeah.
What do you envision the experience that you want to have being like? What your parents, your like everyone's experience, like what do you want them to leave feeling like?
Yeah, I totally agree. What gave me these cringe-tastic feelings about wedding culture, I think, was ultimately connected to the fact that for women, a wedding used to be this like rigid thing that you had to do because you had to get married in order to be like seen as valuable in society. And now they're framed as this extravagant thing that you'd be crazy not to want to do.
Right.
And I don't like either of those options.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
consumerism replaced religion so smoothly as the generations went by as the kind of justification for why we do this, that I didn't even like notice why I was creeped out by the whole thing. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think the wedding planning process really showed me and Casey like a new way of collaborating on something.
Yeah.
And that was really positive for us. But if I had a different personality, I would love to know what my life would be like in general if I had a different personality.
But that's life's glorious tapestry, right? Is that we all get to have a different personality.
Yeah. Indeed.
I love it. Amanda, you have a new paperback out.
Yeah. Yes. My third book, The Age of Magical Overthinking, is newly out in paperback. I do talk a little bit actually about some misconceptions that I held about wedding traditions in a certain chapter of that book, where I believed this stupid piece of misinformation about the origin of the bridal bouquet because I read it literally in every source. And I was just like, yeah, sure, that seems true, even though I felt in my bones it wasn't. And then a medievalist corrected me. But I was just like, why do I believe things that I know in my bones can't be true just because I like read them multiple times? Mm-hmm. And that has to do with a cognitive bias called the illusory truth effect. But anyway, the book investigates different types of modern irrationality from the zeitgeist and my own personal life through the lens of cognitive biases. And it was a delight to write.
It's fantastic. And we will put links to all different places to buy it in the show notes. And where can people find you if they want to find more of you on the internet?
Well, if you want to see my wedding photos, you can find them on my Instagram at Amanda_Montel. And I have a couple of podcasts. Anne Helen Peterson was a guest on our episode on the cult of trad wives on my podcast, Sounds Like a Cult. I also have a podcast called Magical Overthinkers about the buzzy, confounding emotional conundrums we can't stop overthinking about. And then I'm the author of a few different books that you can find wherever books are sold. Word Slut, Cultish, The Age of Magical Overthinking.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight.
I
just keep thinking of funny things that you said.
Oh my God. What fun. I never tire of talking about this wedding shit. Really.
Thanks for listening to the Culture Study Podcast. Today, paid subscribers got a bonus conversation between Melody and me about how we find new music. It's not the ways you might expect. So if you want to support the show and be sure you always get that bonus content, head to patreon.com/culturestudy. It's $5 a month or $50 a year, and you'll get ad-free episodes, an exclusive advice time segment, and weekly discussion threads for each episode. And be sure to follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. We have so many great episodes in the works, and I promise you don't want to miss any of them. If you want to suggest a topic, ask a question about the culture that surrounds you, or submit a question for our subscriber-only advice time segment, go to our Google forum at tinyurl.com/culturestudypod, or check the show notes for a link. The Culture Study Podcast is produced by me, Anne Helen Peterson, and Melody Rowell. Our music is by Poddington Bear. You can find me on Instagram at Anne Helen Peterson, Melody at Melodious47, and the show at Culture Study Pod.